I remember the exact moment my world cracked open. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet. Too quiet. I was standing in my kitchen in our little apartment in Austin, Texas, on a Tuesday afternoon in October. The light was golden and lazy coming through the window above the sink. I was washing grapes. Just washing grapes. Like my whole life wasn't about to turn inside out. My phone buzzed on the counter. Then again. Then again. 3 texts in a row from my younger sister, Chloe. She never texts 3 times in a row unless something is wrong, or unless she wants something. Usually both. I dried my hands on the dish towel that said, "Whine a little, laugh a lot," a gift from my mom because she thought it was cute. I grabbed my phone, and there they were. 3 little bubbles of text that would rip the foundation out from under me. Chloe, "Hey, can we talk tonight?" Chloe, "Like really talk." Chloe, "It's about Josh." My heart did that thing where it drops and rises at the same time, like an elevator falling too fast. Josh was my fiancé, my person, the man I had been with for 4 years. We got engaged 6 months ago on a rooftop in downtown Austin, with the city lights blinking below us like tiny promises. He got down on one knee, and I cried so hard I couldn't say yes for a full 30 seconds. Chloe was there that night. She took pictures. She hugged me so tight I felt her ribs. She cried too. That was the sister I thought I had. I stared at those 3 texts for a long time.
A really long time. The grapes sat in the colander, dripping onto the counter. I didn't notice. My brain was already running down a dark hallway, opening doors I didn't want to look inside. What about Josh? Why would Chloe need to talk about Josh? Why wouldn't Josh be the one to talk to me about Josh? I typed back. My fingers felt numb. Me. What about him? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. She was typing and deleting, typing and deleting. That never happened with Chloe. Chloe was the loud one, the messy one, the one who showed up to family dinners 20 minutes late with a story about a flat tire or a broken heel or a cat she found in a parking lot. She was chaos, but she was my chaos. I loved her more than anyone on this planet besides my mom. The dots stopped. No message came. I called her, straight to voicemail. I called again, voicemail. I texted again. "Chloe, what is going on?" Nothing. For the next 3 hours, I existed in a fog. I tried to work. I'm a graphic designer. I work from home mostly. I opened Adobe Illustrator and stared at a blank canvas like it was a foreign language. I checked my phone every 45 seconds. Nothing from Chloe. Josh was at work. He's an architect. He was probably in a meeting or on a site visit. I thought about texting him, but something stopped me. Some sick little instinct that knew I wasn't ready for the answer. When Josh came home around 6:30, I was sitting on the couch with a glass of wine that I hadn't really drank, just held. He kissed the top of my head like he always did. Like he always did. He smelled like cedar and coffee. That smell used to make me feel safe. That night it made my stomach clench. "Hey babe," he said. "Long day?" "Chloe texted me," I said. My voice sounded strange, even to me. Even to me. "She said she needed to talk about you." Josh froze, for maybe half a second. Then he kept moving toward the kitchen like nothing happened. Like nothing at all. But I saw it. That tiny pause. That little fracture in his rhythm. He opened the fridge and pulled out a beer. He didn't look at me. "What about me?" he said. Too casual. Too practiced. "I don't know," I said. She wouldn't say. Then she stopped answering. Josh twisted the cap off his beer and took a long, slow drink. His back was still to me. I watched his shoulders rise and fall. He turned around and his face was smooth, like glass. Like glass. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Chloe's just being Chloe," he said. "You know how she gets. Probably some drama with her boyfriend or something." Chloe didn't have a boyfriend. She hadn't had a boyfriend in almost a year. And I knew that. Josh knew that. We both knew that. I didn't push. I should have pushed. I should have stood up and grabbed his face and demanded he tell me what was happening. But I didn't. Because deep down I already knew. Not the details. Not the full ugly shape of it. But I knew something was wrong.
Something was rotting beneath the surface of my perfect little life, and I was too scared to lift the floorboard and look. That night, I didn't sleep. Josh slept like a baby. He always slept like a baby. I lay next to him in the dark, watching the ceiling fan spin and listening to him breathe. I replayed everything, every moment from the past few months, every text Chloe had sent me, every time Josh had been late, every time I had felt a flicker of something off and then pushed it away because I trusted them, because they were the two people I trusted most in the entire world. The next morning, I drove to Chloe's apartment. She lived in a little complex south of the river. Cute place, a little messy, very Chloe. I didn't call first, I didn't text. I just showed up. I knocked and waited. No answer. I knocked harder. I knew she was home because her car was in the lot. A beat-up Honda with a dent in the bumper from when she backed into a fire hydrant 2 years ago. She never got it fixed. "Chloe," I said through the door. "I know you're in there. Open the door." Silence. Then the sound of footsteps. Then the door opened a crack. Chloe's face appeared in the gap. Her eyes were red and puffy. She'd been crying. She had been crying a lot. "Hey," she whispered. "Hey." "Don't hey me," I said. "What's going on? Why did you text me that and then disappear?" She opened the door wider. Her apartment was a mess. Clothes on the floor, dishes in the sink, empty wine bottles on the coffee table. She looked smaller than usual, hunched, defeated. She wrapped her arms around herself like she was cold, even though the heat was blasting. "Come in," she said. "Please, just come in." I stepped inside. The door closed behind me with a soft click that sounded like a gunshot. I stood in the middle of her living room and looked at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She looked at the floor, at the window, at her own hands, anywhere but me. "Chloe," I said again. My voice was shaking now. "Tell me." She took a breath. A long, shaky breath like she was about to jump off a cliff. Then she said the words that changed everything. "I kissed Josh." The room got very quiet. The kind of quiet that has weight, that presses down on your chest. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. Thump, 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 like a fist on a door. "What?" I said. My voice came out flat. "Dead." "I kissed him," Chloe said. Her voice cracked. "It was one time. It was stupid. I was drunk. We were both drunk. It didn't mean anything. I swear it didn't mean anything." I blinked. That was all. I just blinked, because my brain was trying to catch up to what my ears had just heard. Chloe and Josh? Josh and Chloe? My sister and my fiancé? Kissing. Drunk or not drunk? One time or 100 times, it didn't matter. The thing that mattered was that it happened, and that they had kept it from me. When? "A month ago," Chloe said. "At Mia's party. Remember Mia's party?" "You left early because you had a headache. Josh stayed. I stayed. We were sitting on the back porch. We had too much to drink. And he just leaned in. And I didn't stop him. My knees felt weak. I sat down on her couch without meaning to. The cushions were lumpy and smelled like cigarettes, even though Chloe didn't smoke. I stared at the wall. There was a picture of us from 3 years ago, me and Chloe at the lake. We were both laughing. I remembered that day. It was hot. We ate popsicles on the dock. She dropped hers in the water and pretended to cry, and I bought her another one. That was my sister. That was the girl I would have done anything for. Why are you telling me now? I asked. Chloe started crying. Real crying. The kind with sobs and snot and shaking shoulders. She sat down on the floor at my feet. Like a little kid. Like a little kid. Because I can't live with it, she said. I can't look at you anymore. Every time I see you, I feel like I'm dying. I thought I could forget. I thought if I just pretended it didn't happen, it would go away. But it won't. It won't go away. I looked down at her. My little sister. 3 years younger. We used to share a bedroom. She used to crawl into my bed when she had nightmares. I used to braid her hair before school. I taught her how to drive. I bought her first legal drink. I loved her so much it felt like a physical thing living inside my chest. And now that thing was turning into poison. Did you sleep with him? I asked.
Chloe looked up at me. Her face was wet and splotchy. Her mascara was running down her cheeks in black rivers. No, she said. I swear to God, no. Just the kiss. Just one kiss. It was a mistake. It was the biggest mistake of my life. I believed her, or I wanted to believe her, because the alternative was too much, too heavy, too dark. I couldn't carry it. I couldn't carry the weight of my sister and my fiancé together in that way. So I chose to believe her. I chose to believe that it was just a kiss, one stupid, drunk, meaningless kiss. I sat on that lumpy couch for a long time. Chloe stayed on the floor. Neither of us spoke. The afternoon light shifted through the blinds. Long stripes of gold and shadow moved across the room, like the world was still turning, even though mine had stopped. Finally, I said, I have to talk to Josh. Chloe nodded. She wiped her face with her sleeve. I'm so sorry, she said again. I'm so sorry. I stood up. I walked to the door. I didn't look back at her. I couldn't. Because if I looked back, I would have seen the little sister I grew up with, and I would have forgiven her right there on the spot. And I wasn't ready to forgive anyone yet. I drove home in a daze. The streets of Austin blurred past me. The Barton Springs sign. The taco truck on the corner. The guy on the bike with the tiny dock in the basket. All of it normal. All of it ordinary. And I was driving through it like a ghost. Like I was already gone. Josh was home when I got there. He was sitting at the dining table with his laptop open. Work stuff. He looked up when I walked in and his face went pale. He knew. He knew that I knew. I could see it in his eyes. That flicker of fear. That recognition. We need to talk, I said. He closed his laptop slowly. Slowly. Like he was trying to buy himself time. Like he was trying to think of an escape route. But there was no escape route. There was just the two of us and the ugly thing sitting in the room between us. Chloe told me, I said, about the kiss. Josh ran a hand through his hair. His hand was shaking. I could see it trembling. He looked down at the table, then up at me, then down again. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. I'm sorry, he said. His voice was barely a whisper. I'm so sorry. It was nothing. It was a stupid, stupid mistake. I was drunk. She was drunk.
It didn't mean anything. You have to believe me. Those words again. It didn't mean anything. They both said it, like that was supposed to make it better, like the meaninglessness of it was supposed to be a comfort. But it wasn't a comfort. It was worse, because if it meant nothing, then why did they do it? Why risk everything for nothing? I sat down across from him, the same table where we had eaten 1,000 meals, where we had talked about our wedding, where we had planned our future, the table we picked out together at IKEA, the one I scratched the first week we had it because I tried to cut a lime without a cutting board. Josh laughed and said it gave it character. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we were happy. How long have you been keeping this from me? I asked. A month, Josh said. A month. I was going to tell you, I swear I was. I just didn't know how. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did hurt me, I said. You both did. And you let me walk around for a month not knowing? You let me plan our wedding. You let me pick out flowers and taste cakes and talk about centerpieces while you were hiding this. Do you know what that feels like? Josh didn't answer. He just sat there with his head in his hands. I watched his shoulders shake. He was crying. He was crying and I couldn't feel anything. Not sadness, not anger. Just a big, empty hole where my feelings used to be. I got up and walked to the bedroom. I closed the door. I lay down on the bed and stared at the ceiling. I didn't cry. I wanted to cry. I needed to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. They were stuck somewhere deep inside me behind a wall I didn't know how to break down. For the next week, I moved through life like a robot. I got up, I showered, I worked. I ate when I remembered to eat. I talked to Josh, but only about necessary things. Did you pay the electric bill? Did you feed the cat? We had a cat named Peanut. Peanut didn't care about any of this. Peanut just wanted his kibble and a warm lap. Chloe called me 4 times. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't reply. My mom called because Chloe had told her something was wrong, but not what. I told my mom I was fine, just tired. Work was busy. She didn't believe me. Moms always know. But she didn't push. I made a decision. I decided to forgive them. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else to do. The wedding was 3 months away. Deposits had been paid. Invitations had been sent. My dress was hanging in my mom's closet. My whole life was already built around this future, and I couldn't figure out how to tear it down. So I tried to fix it instead. I told Josh I forgave him. I told Chloe I forgave her. I said we needed to move forward, that we couldn't let one mistake ruin everything. They both cried. They both hugged me. They both promised it would never happen again. And I believed them. God, I wanted to believe them. So I did. I chose to believe them because the alternative was too painful. Because if I let myself really look at what had happened, I would have to admit that something was broken. Something was wrong. And I wasn't ready to look at that yet. The next 2 months were strange. We tried to go back to normal. We had dinner together. Chloe came over for Sunday brunch like she always did. We laughed. We talked about the wedding. I showed her the seating chart and she rolled her eyes at the table assignments. Everything looked the same on the surface, but underneath something had shifted. There was a crack in the foundation. A hairline fracture that I could feel every time I looked at Josh next to my sister. Every time I saw them in the same room. I started watching them. Not on purpose at first, but then it became a habit, an obsession. I watched the way Josh looked at Chloe, the way she touched his arm when she laughed, the way they stood a little too close in the kitchen. Small things, things that could mean nothing, things that could mean everything. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I was looking for problems that weren't there. I told myself I had forgiven them, and that meant letting go. So I tried. I really tried. But then, 3 weeks before the wedding, I came home early from a meeting. My meeting got canceled. I didn't text Josh. I just came home. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. I walked in and I heard voices from the bedroom. Low voices. Intimate voices. My blood turned to ice. I walked to the bedroom door. It was cracked open. Just a little. Just enough to see inside. And there they were. Josh and Chloe. On my bed. In my bedroom. In the bed where I slept every night. They were lying together. Not having sex. They were just lying there. Curled up together like it was the most natural thing in the world. Josh's arm was around her. Her head was on his chest. Their legs were tangled together. They looked comfortable. They looked peaceful. They looked like a couple. I pushed the door open. It creaked. They both looked up.
Their faces went through so many expressions in 1 second. Confusion, recognition, then horror. Pure horror. Chloe scrambled off the bed like she had been burned. Josh sat up fast, his mouth hanging open. "Maya," he said. "Maya, it's not what it looks like." I laughed. I actually laughed. A cold, hollow laugh that didn't sound like me at all. "It's not what it looks like," I said. "Okay, tell me what it looks like then." Chloe was crying again. She was always crying now. Her tears meant nothing to me anymore. They had lost their power. She held her hands out like she was approaching a wild animal. "Nothing happened," she said. "We were just talking. I was upset about something. Josh was comforting me. That's all. That's all, I swear." "On my bed," I said. "In my bedroom? With your head on his chest? That's how you comfort your sister's fiancé." Neither of them had an answer for that. They just stood there, looking at me with those guilty, panicked eyes. And in that moment, I knew. I knew I had been a fool. I knew I had been played. I knew that the kiss wasn't a one-time thing. I knew that it was never just a kiss. And I knew that the two people I loved most in this world had been lying to me for months. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just turned around and walked out. I walked out of the apartment. I walked down the stairs. I walked to my car. I got in and I drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove through the streets of Austin. Past the places where I had been happy. The taco joint where Josh and I had our first date. The park where we used to walk Peanut. The bridge where Chloe once dared me to climb the railing and I almost fell in the water. I ended up at my mom's house. It was late by then, almost 11. I sat in the driveway for a long time with the engine off. The lights were off inside. My mom was asleep. I didn't want to wake her. I didn't want to explain. I didn't have the words. But the front door opened anyway. My mom appeared in the doorway in her bathrobe. She had seen my car pull in. She knew something was wrong. Moms always know. "Baby," she said, "what happened?" And that's when I finally cried. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I cried until my chest hurt and my eyes swelled shut. My mom held me in the doorway of her house like I was a little girl again, like I was 5 years old with a scraped knee. She didn't ask questions. She just held me. And I let her. I told her everything the next morning. All of it. The kiss, the lies, finding them on the bed. My mom sat at the kitchen table with her coffee getting cold. She didn't say much. She just listened. When I was finished, she reached across the table and took my hands. "Cancel the wedding," she said. Just like that. Cancel the wedding. No hesitation. No, let's think about this. No, maybe you can work it out. Just cancel the wedding. I knew she was right. I had known it for months, but hearing someone else say it made it real. Made it unavoidable. I nodded. I couldn't speak. I just nodded. Canceling a wedding is a nightmare. All those deposits, all those phone calls, all those people asking why. I told everyone the same thing. It didn't work out. We decided to go our separate ways. I didn't mention Chloe. I couldn't. I couldn't tell my friends that my sister had betrayed me. I couldn't tell my coworkers that my fiancé had been lying to me for months. So I kept the truth inside. I swallowed it like poison, and I let everyone think it was just a regular breakup, a sad story,
nothing special. Josh moved out of the apartment. He took his clothes and his laptop and his stupid collection of vinyl records that he never even listened to. He tried to talk to me. He showed up at my mom's house twice. I didn't answer the door. He sent me long texts, pages and pages of apologies and explanations and promises. I didn't read them. I deleted each one without opening it. Chloe didn't try. She knew better. She knew that what she had done was unforgivable. She moved out of her apartment too. I heard through my mom that she went to stay with a friend in Dallas. Good. I didn't want her anywhere near me. I didn't want to see her face. I didn't want to hear her voice. I didn't want to remember that she was my sister. For a while, I was okay, or I was something like okay. I moved into a new apartment, a smaller place on the east side. I bought new furniture. I changed my sheets. I cut my hair.
I did all the things you're supposed to do after a breakup, the things that are supposed to make you feel like a new person. But I wasn't a new person. I was the same person who had been lied to and betrayed by the two people she trusted most, the same person who had almost married a man who was in love with her sister, the same person who still didn't know the full truth. That last part ate at me, the not knowing. I knew about the kiss. I knew about finding them on the bed, but I didn't know what happened between those two moments. I didn't know how many times. I didn't know how far it went. Chloe said it was just a kiss, but Chloe had also said she would never hurt me, and we both knew how that turned out. I decided I needed to know, not because it would change anything, but because I couldn't keep living in the fog. I needed the full, ugly picture. I needed to see it with my own eyes, so I could finally let it go. I called Josh. He answered on the first ring. His voice was shaky. He asked how I was. I didn't answer. I just said, I need to know everything, and I need to hear it from you. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, okay. He said he would tell me everything. He asked if he could come over. I said no. I said, tell me now, on the phone, where I could hang up if I needed to. So he told me, and the truth was so much worse than I imagined. It didn't start a month before the wedding. It started a year before, a whole year. Josh and Chloe had been involved for a year, while I planned our wedding, while I picked out rings and venues and catering menus, while I told everyone I had found the one, while I thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. It started small. Texting, late-night conversations when I was asleep, then coffee dates that Chloe said were just sibling bonding because she didn't have a sister and she always wanted to know what it was like. Then it turned into more, much more. Josh told me they had sex for the first time 6 months before he proposed. 6 months. He got down on one knee and asked me to marry him while he was already sleeping with my sister. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't make sound. I just sat there with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to the man I almost married describe the destruction of my life in a calm, steady voice, like he was reading a grocery list. He said it didn't mean anything. He said it was just physical. He said he loved me, not her. He said the proposal was real, the wedding was real. He wanted to marry me. He wanted to spend his life with me. He just couldn't stop. He couldn't stay away from her. She was like an addiction, a sickness. Every time he swore it was over, she would text him or show up at his office, and he would fall right back into it. I asked him if Chloe knew about the proposal, if she knew he was going to marry me while still sleeping with her. Josh said yes. He said Chloe knew. She knew the whole time. She was the one who helped him pick out the ring. That was the detail that broke me. Not the affair, not the lies, the ring. Chloe helped him pick out the ring. She stood in a jewelry store with the man who was betraying me, and she pointed at diamonds and said, that one. She would like that one. She held his hand while he bought the symbol of his commitment to me. And then she came to the rooftop that night, and she took pictures of us. She cried happy tears. She hugged me so tight I felt her ribs. She was crying because she knew what she was doing, not because she was happy for me, because she was destroying me. I hung up on Josh. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't say anything.
I just pressed end and threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and cracked the screen. I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. The next few weeks were a blur. I didn't leave my apartment. I didn't answer calls. I didn't eat. I lost 12 pounds. My friends started texting my mom. My mom started showing up with groceries. She would sit with me while I stared at the wall. She didn't try to fix anything. She just sat there. That was all I needed. Someone to just sit there with me in the dark. I started therapy. A woman named Dr. Reyes who had kind eyes and a calm voice. She asked me questions I didn't want to answer. She made me say things out loud that I had been trying to bury. She helped me understand that what happened wasn't my fault, that I didn't miss something I should have seen.
That Josh and Chloe were adults who made choices, terrible choices, and those choices had nothing to do with me or my worth. I didn't believe her at first, but after a while, some of it started to stick. I started to see that I wasn't the one who should be ashamed. They were. They were the ones who lied and cheated and betrayed. They were the ones who had to live with what they did, not me. The wedding day came, the day that was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I didn't go to the venue. I didn't put on my dress. Instead, I went to a diner on South Congress with my mom. We ate pancakes at 10 in the morning like it was any other day. We talked about nothing. The weather, her garden, the new book she was reading. It was the most normal I had felt in months. And then my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. It was Chloe. She was crying. Of course she was crying. But this was different. This wasn't the usual guilty tears. This was something else. Something raw. Something desperate. "Maya," she said, "please don't hang up, please. I need to tell you something." I should have hung up. I should have blocked the number and gone back to my pancakes. But I didn't. I stayed on the line. Because some part of me still loved her. Some broken, stupid part of me still wanted my sister. "What?" I said. Chloe took a breath. A long, shaking breath. And then she told me something that changed everything all over again.
"The baby is Josh's." I heard the words, but they didn't make sense. They bounced around in my skull like loose change. The baby, Josh's. I didn't even know she was pregnant. "I'm sorry," Chloe said. "I'm so sorry. I didn't want to tell you. I was going to figure it out on my own, but I can't. I can't do this alone, and I don't have anyone else." I looked at my mom. She was watching me with worried eyes. She knew something was wrong. She could always tell. "How far along?" I asked. My voice was flat, dead again. 4 months, Chloe said. 4 months. It happened before the wedding, before you canceled. I didn't know. I didn't know until after you found out, after everything. 4 months. That meant Chloe was pregnant before I found them on the bed, before I canceled the wedding, while I was still trying to forgive them, while I was still pretending we could be a family. "Josh knows?" I asked. "Yes," Chloe said. "He knows. He doesn't want to be involved. He said it's my problem. He said he's trying to fix things with you, which is insane because you won't even talk to him. But he said he can't be a father to my baby. He said it would be too complicated." I almost laughed. Almost. Josh didn't want to be involved. Of course he didn't. He didn't want to be involved when he was sleeping with her. He didn't want to be involved when he was proposing to me. He didn't want to be involved when he was lying to both of us. The only thing Josh wanted was to avoid consequences. To escape the wreckage he created. "What do you want from me?" I asked Chloe. "I don't know," she said. "I don't know. I thought you should hear it from me, not from someone else. I owe you that much." "You owe me a lot more than that," I said. "I know," Chloe whispered. "I know." I hung up. I set my phone on the table, face down. My mom reached across and put her hand on mine. She didn't ask what Chloe said. She just held my hand. And for a long time, we sat there in the diner with our cold pancakes and our cold coffee while the world moved on without us. I thought about everything. About Josh and his empty apologies. About Chloe and her river of tears. About the baby. My sister was having my ex-fiancé's baby. My niece or nephew would be the child of the two people who destroyed me. I didn't know how to feel about that. I didn't know if I would ever know. But sitting there in that diner with my mom's hand in mine, I realized something. I realized that I was still standing, that I had survived, that the worst thing that had ever happened to me had not killed me. I was still here, still breathing, still capable of eating pancakes, even if they were cold. I didn't know what my relationship with Chloe would look like going forward. I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. I didn't know if I could love her again. But I knew that whatever happened, it would be on my terms. Not hers. Not Josh's. Mine. I took a bite of my cold pancake. My mom smiled at me. A small, sad, hopeful smile.
And for the first time in a very long time, I smiled back. The healing wouldn't be linear. I knew that. There would be good days and bad days. Days when I felt strong and days when I couldn't get out of bed. But I was done letting their betrayal define me. I was done being the victim of their story. I was ready to start writing my own. I paid for the pancakes. I left a tip. I walked out of the diner into the bright Texas sun. It was hot. It was always hot in Austin. The heat hit my face, and for a moment I just stood there with my eyes closed, letting it wash over me. When I opened my eyes, I saw a woman across the street. She was pushing a stroller. A baby was inside, a tiny little thing with a sun hat and chubby cheeks. The woman was laughing at something on her phone. She looked happy, uncomplicatedly happy. I wondered if Chloe would ever look like that, pushing a stroller, laughing at her phone, pretending the past didn't exist. I wondered if I would ever look like that again. Happy, uncomplicated, free? I didn't know the answer, but I was willing to find out. I got in my car and I drove home. Not to the old apartment, not to the place where I had been happy and then broken, to my new apartment. My small apartment on the east side, the one with the blue door and the plant on the balcony that I somehow hadn't killed yet. I walked inside. Peanut was waiting for me. He meowed and rubbed against my legs. I picked him up and held him close. His purr was loud and steady against my chest, a small, consistent heartbeat. "You and me," I whispered to him. "Just you and me." And that was enough. For now, that was enough.